inferring based on. Okay. So would you almost sort of agree that Tim doesn't ever hear the sound? Okay, so that's getting to Aaliyah, sort of someone sort of on your side of saying he doesn't hear a sound. He never hears a sound. All right, Carter.
I agree with that because I think that at first when Tom was sleeping, I think that he was dreaming too. Because at first he was dreaming when I heard the sound and Tim didn't wake up either.
So you think he's dreaming?
Yeah, and then not until after Tom and his dad, they were whispering about a mouse in the wall. That's when Tim woke up.
All right, so this is something, I know this is a lot that's really taxing on our brain. So Ricardo, I think that's similar to what Alita was saying, right? That Tim is waking up because of he hears them whispering.
Yeah.
All right, Rob.
Alita said like the first time he didn't hear the sound, he didn't wake up. But on line 24, it says, "Does that sound again?" Someone said, "Dad, did you hear that?" This time Tim woke up too. The sound came back. Tim woke up too. There was the sound.
Okay.
He did hear it because the sound happened again. And he said his father, and he said Tim woke up too when Tom told his father that there was the sound happened.
Okay. So, yeah, we talked about that point. So how would you, and I'm not negating your point, but I just want you to see, you don't have to answer just yet. How would you explain, and I think this is what people have been pointing out in line 1, when it says Tom woke up but Tim did not. How would you explain, in one case, this is what Ricardo was saying as well, that Tim wakes up, maybe coincidentally, but when they are whispering, but he doesn't wake up the first time? How would you explain that? Based on the text, does the text give us any suggestion of one way or the other?
I'm not trying to get off topic, but I thought maybe like where they were sleeping at, how close they were to the sound, and how big of a sound it was to make one of them. That's how. So Tim thought like it might have been quieter that Tom heard it before Tim, and the second time it might have been louder than Tim.
Okay. They are sleeping in the same room though, right? Okay. So that's a good sort of factual thing to know. Now, okay. So perhaps we're not too sure, and sometimes we can sort of add our own interpretation. Sometimes it's hard to sort of pull from the text, but it's interesting. All right. Caleb, and I want to go back to Mariah.
So back to what she was saying with them being outside, with that, it couldn't have been no rat. It could have been a possum or something. You know what I'm saying? Like a big old rat or something.
Okay. So we're sort of taking things that we're not trying to focus on the text, and it's tough to do it. You realize because there's only so much that's there, but looking at the text, we're still looking at the sense of. And Ricardo sort of really got his focus on the sense of agreeing with Aaliyah, whether or not Tim hears the sound. And then, Robert, there is still some suggestion on your part that you don't quite agree with. Is there anyone else that does not agree with Aaliyah's point that perhaps Tim did not wake up to the sound of anything, he just awakes to the sound of a whisper? So Yushin, what is your view on that? Do you think that Tim wakes up to the sound of an actual sound being made, or do you think that Tim awakes to just whispering?
Tim didn't hear the sound, just the father and the the father and Tom talked too loud. Tim wake up.
Okay.
And Tim wake up and heard my mom house.
Okay. So you're still another person, and I think maybe most of them, maybe not all of us, are supporting going to sort of what Aaliyah said, right? That perhaps he was talking too loud, and that whisper, what Ricardo's saying, what Aaliyah's saying, is what gets Tim to wake up. Yeah, Louise.
Disagree with you.
Okay.
Because in line 24, it says,
Line 24.
it says, there's that sound again, Tom whispers to his father. Did you hear that? And then the 9th verse says, this time, Tim wakes up too. So by that sound, the narrator is saying that Tim also wakes up to that sound.
Okay, there's that sound again. Tom whispered to his father. Did you hear that? This time, Tim woke up too. You are still, and it's fine, you're still interpreting it to mean that he is waking up to that sound and not to the whispering.
And the narrator keeps going on too, because it would sound like something caught inside the keyboard of the dead.
Okay, so because you're saying because the narrator is going on, that is implying that he is talking about the sound. It was a sound like something caught, that because the narrator is continuing, that it is a sound. It's not just a whisper.
Somebody, I think she said it earlier, like, is Tom, does he make up things? Because when he kept saying it's a monster with no arms and legs, it has fur, and it has teeth. Like, does he make things up? Because his father was like, it sounded like he's being sarcastic, like it's like the line 6 through 12.
Line, can you read that part?
It's 6 through 12. But
Okay, so read. Yeah.
it sounded like a monster with no arms and no legs, but it was trying to move, Tom said. I couldn't move with no arms and no legs, his father asked. It wriggles, Tom said. It slides on its flesh. Oh, it has fur, his father said. It pulls itself along with its teeth, Tom said. It has teeth too, his father explained. It felt like he was like being sarcastic to him. Like he always makes up stories, so he like, he has teeth and fur and no arms and no legs and hands and hair.
So almost as though the father is just sort of playing along. So you're thinking it has teeth too, his father exclaimed. It's not as though you're saying the father is actually excited or scared, but it's almost as though he's being sarcastic with maybe.
Like you want to laugh at
Yeah,
Okay.
like,
All right.
Okay, now I read back to line 24, and at the text says there's that sound again, but it's an exclamation point. So he's not whispering no more. He woke the boy up from screaming, saying there's that sound again.
Because that exclamation point, even though it says whisper, that exclamation is loud enough to sort of pinpoint it. All right, so I want to get a few people from the outside as well. We have a little bit of time just to try to move guests back in, but I want to lead us through a few things. So this is our second week of discussion, and I think, just besides simply what you weren't here the other day, so you're just trying to stay with everyone in this circle participating. Now, a few things about the participation part. One thing that we noticed, and one thing that you will notice throughout, rarely will I force you to participate. There are times when I know I'm not gonna, in other words, I won't call on you if I think you're not paying attention. But Ricardo, when you spoke, I knew you were listening. Some of us, it just takes us longer to really want to say something, right? It might be the case, though, that some of you just might go the whole time without talking, so I might call on you anyways, but I know that you have something worthwhile to say. So like in the case of Francisco or Yushin, and adding things in. All right? We do notice that we come to an agreement. You did?
I don't know, because Robert keeps saying it's
Robert
a
and
sound.
who else?
Louis.
Lewis are saying that we're not sure about that. Now, even if we came to an agreement about Tim, the next step would be what? If we came to an agreement, and those of you outside, you can help us out too. If we came to an agreement about whether or not Tim heard a sound or not, our next and final step would be to say what? In order to try to come to a conclusion on everything, we would have to come to an agreement about what? If there was a sound. And we didn't get there. Now, because we didn't get to a conclusion, it doesn't mean that we failed at all. This was a great discussion, and there were some great points brought up. All right? We found some lines that we continue to go back to. We continue to go back to line 30 and 31, 24 and 25, 11 and 12. But we also saw that there were some lines that we used later on in the discussion that we didn't use. Line 1 we didn't get to for about 30 minutes. All right? On the back, when we started to use lines 41 and 42, that happened later on. So we were using different lines to interpret. All right? Last two things. On the outside, and I know, Cameron, you had your hand up. Is there anything that you noticed or things that you thought about this particular text?
I forgot, but I got one line.
Yeah.
It says Father comes to
You said 34?
Yeah.
All right.
It says Father comes to world and listen to them. So apparently they heard something. Tom heard the gospel.
All right. Interesting. Louise?
I was gonna agree with you, but I have to do with this.
Yeah.
It says in 24, it starts with there's that sound, but then his father agrees with him that there's a sound. Line 29, he says it's just a mouse crying between the walls.
Yeah, and then last point, and these are some great points. You see, we're nowhere close. Well, we are a lot closer. In some sense, we're focused on our question of the sound that will occur. We are a lot closer than where we were. Yeah.
I think that's one of the early points of it. Is it a mouse or not? Personally, if my students at home, something like that, as you know, they have fur all over their body, so it might sound like that they don't have arms or legs because of the full fur coating. And they also do gnaw on wood a lot, so that would make sense for the wood for etching.
Okay. No, that's a great point. All right, very great point. And all three of you added sort of great points. And one last thing that I will add is this. What will happen, just because we'll very rarely, unless I can sort of figure a way out, is to get more than 50 minutes to have a discussion. What will start to happen as we continue to get better at this is that it won't take us as much time to figure out where we want, what is our, as a class, our deepest point of doubt. We'll be able to try to figure it out within a few minutes because we're all looking at, you know, and say, you know what, I have the same point of doubt as you do. And if we can do that in a faster way, then it gives us more time to really look at the text. So we'll keep getting better at that and grow. So next week it'll just be the inverse. All right, last thing, just because the bell's gonna ring in a moment, if we can please do this, and some of you can be leaders in this process,